All right, welcome back, GRC Mafia. We're here to break down barriers, foster collaboration and community, working towards a more secure future for everybody. Welcome to Thursday night. So this is the last Thursday of the month, which is when we do our job readiness and group resume review. We have 4 resumes lined out as of right now. You go through our contact form in order to submit a redacted resume. We did get additional submissions, but unfortunately we won't be going through them because they were not redacted. So when you do go through to submit your resume, please take out your phone number, your name, and some of the other like identifiable information, because we just don't want to share that on a live stream or otherwise. Definitely no problems or anything with it, but just so you guys know. And also this flashing light, yeah, my LED like built in the ceiling light is going out. So we'll see, you know, if I have an episode or otherwise. Now, I am going to drop this stage link in just a moment, so let me go ahead and get that in chat. You guys are more than welcome to come up for the open stage. So here in a moment, I'm going to go through and transition over. We'll start going through resumes and so forth, and you are certainly encouraged for anybody and everybody, no matter what stage you're at, to come up on stage, join the conversation, provide your takes, ask questions, share resources, and so forth. One of the best places to share your social media profiles or other resources is inside of our Discord server. So if you hop into our Discord server, we have a live chat channel where you could post your social media. We also have an intro channel as well. And you can also put other resources in the chat there that will relay. YouTube will not allow you to actually post links directly, but you can do so by doing it through the live chat channel inside of the Discord server. Definitely don't share anything that you don't want to be public, especially if you do come up here on stage. You can reach out to me at contact@studygrc.org, or you can also reach me on Discord are the best ways. Also, we have our badge. So some of you guys may be familiar. Every single Thursday, we go through and we redo our badge. So what you do is the information's dropping into the chat right now. You hop into our live chat channel and you do GRC Mafia in capital letters, and the bot will give you a little like check mark to let you know that, hey, that worked and I caught it. And then it's going to go through and put the badge next to the name. If that light keeps going on, I'm just going to go into my natural habitat and go in dark mode. All right, so with that part out of the way, also, of course, we have B-Dubs' website as well, where she's publishing a blog article every single Monday morning and doing an ongoing CISSP study group as well that's covering all of the domain objectives for $0. It's available on her YouTube channel. The link is in the chat as well for the cissp.britwhite.io. Yeah, and welcome to the party, pal. I see Brexy popping in, AB's grabbing it, Flakinator grabbed the badge. Let's see. And that also gives you access to a secret channel as well. And this rule gets reset every single week. Welcome to the party, pal. Cam, Cyber Research. I see B-Dubs in chat, Jeffrey, AMK. Welcome to the party, pals, GRC Mafia. And then last but not least, we also have our website for the rest of the platforms that we stream to. And then also we have our calendar for the most up-to-date information and our resources page as well. We did recently update that. So if you guys would like, that's a really good resource as well. We're definitely looking at expanding that further. Also, I wanted to know, every single month we have a giveaway, and the last Thursday of every month is when the bot automatically picks one. If you check out our giveaways channel on our Discord server, you can see the information for that. And then T Wills is the winner for that. So I'm not sure if they're here today or not, or otherwise, but definitely reach out to me. Otherwise, I'll also catch up with you after the stream today for the RMF book and then also a Study GRC t-shirt. So GRC Mafia. Yeah, welcome to the party, pal Flakinator. All right, so let's go ahead and get this moved and transitioned over here. I think I covered everything all right. So this is the very first one that we're going to cover. I'm going to go ahead and drop this stage link one more time. And like I said, we have 4 of them to go through. And then also after we go through these resumes, I'm also going to go through and show a tool with AI and so forth, because we talk about the STAR method a lot. But yeah. Welcome to the party, pal Flakinator.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Awesome. Just changing a couple things here. Bam.
Where's everybody else? Come on, people. There we go.
Oh, I was muted. Here's one people.
Oh, and B-Dubs mentioned this too, probably during that intro. to also rethink putting your phone number on your resume and stick to just the email. That's an interesting concept. So first you're pushing people for one page. Now you're saying don't even put your phone number.
I don't have my phone number on mine.
You know, it's actually funny because I think I agree with the keeping your phone number off. But the funny part is when I was looking for jobs and all those jobs I applied to, every single one of them basically said, please enter your phone number. So you had to do it anyway. But I think from the standpoint, which is probably what you're thinking of, BDAS, from a security standpoint, is your phone number at least is not out there public, which I
Right.
think is a very good call to not have it on there.
Right. So exactly on your resume, you're probably sharing it with a lot of people. If someone is interested in you, that looks like an issue. If someone is interested in you, they're going to ask for your phone number. But the first point of contact is probably going to be that email. So I would just, on a resume, I only have my email address.
Yeah. Thanks, Cam. Galaxy ones. These are from my son. I have ones that are also little donuts. That's from my daughter.
Bam. Yeah, as far as the phone number, I don't know. I think it really does depend. All the applications I've submitted, they ask you to upload the resume and then enter all the information anyways, including the phone number. So that seems to be the way to go. What is going on here?
Am I the only one hearing a little like feedback
Yeah.
or a little something with Chris? Or is it
You have
just
a
me?
little, you have a little feedback too.
Oh, it is him. Okay, cool. I'm just making sure it
It's
wasn't
probably
me.
just Restream going on or something along those lines.
Yeah, looked like Restream had a problem with you for a second.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, but cyber research, the problem with going over and getting a void number is, you know, like that incurs cost, that requires time and energy. And also, I don't see a walkthrough for that on your YouTube channel yet. So there's that too. I remember
PBO.
back in the day, I would use, Google Voice, and you could like get phone numbers just instantly, so easily.
Yeah, I remember
like
that.
$5 a credit. Yeah.
I
Google
don't
Voice.
think it needs to be on your resume, period. I mean, they're going to ask for it. They're probably going to have some portal you have to type it into anyways. They're going to get your phone number. But for your resume, I think it's just more public or more personal information you can keep out of the public.
Yeah, you know, I do agree because having it public probably doesn't make sense. Though, I mean, even now I still get phone calls and emails about like desktop support roles, and I'm like, guys, I have a job, please stop. But like you also said, Chris, no matter what, whether it's there or not, they ask for it anyway, and you have to put it in. And for some reason, none of the systems like to, you know, actually parse your resume and pull all that stuff, and you always seem to have to manually enter it anyway. So I think it makes sense just to leave your phone number off.
Yeah. And then also, we have a question about how to submit the redacted resumes. You just go to our website here, studygrc.org, and then you click on this envelope icon for our contact form. And then all of this stuff is optional, and you also have the option to upload the redacted resume. So one of the big key things here is that it does get submitted to VirusTotal and to make sure that it's redacted. So take your personal information out and so forth. So if you submit it now, I can't guarantee that we'll review it. We do have 4 to go over right now, but worst case scenario, it'll be thrown into the next one next month. And we'll try to get to it today if we have the time. So we're going to jump into this first one in just a moment.
Future Quest has a point there too, trying to hide your age, but honestly, if the company has an issue with how old you are, whether it's you're 19 or you're 60 or older or younger, I guess, that's probably not a company you want to work for anyway. So yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, right, if you look at someone's resume, like mine, it has 10 years worth of experience only because you're supposed to only cut it at 10 years. So, and you know, if they're not going to want someone because you're too old or too young, then that's the problem with that company. You know, it sucks for you because you're trying to look for a job and it's making it harder. But in the end, that's not really a company you want to work for anyhow.
Bam. Extra points for 853. That's hilarious. Yeah, so looking at this first resume here, you can see PBO is already on top of it. So SP 853 is listed. I do want to note that they do have PCI marked first there. So, you know, they're not putting 53 first, PBO. I mean, off the bat, I think it looks pretty clean. I think they could probably take out some of the margins on the sides.
Here he comes. I knew PBO was going to show up because the NIST was mentioned. Hey, PBO.
Now,
Damn.
I had a little pushback to my man Flakinator. I took 10 years off my resume and I got more callbacks. Sometimes I just need to get in the door. You know, my gorgeous smile is going to get me points. I just need to get in the door sometimes.
It's true. Well, and like to be honest, I only had 10 years worth of experience, roughly 10 to 12, because most people say anyway, you only want that 10 years. You don't need, you know, like a lot of companies aren't going to care unless you're going for something really specialized, right? Like if you're going for a government role and your government role was 12 years ago, but you recently been in like the public sector, you might want to include some of the older government work. But other than that, it depends. Like you probably don't need it all.
Yeah, I think actually B-Dubs told me to do that. I think I had my whole 30 years of COBOL and stuff. So I took it down to a smooth 20. Then my callbacks went up. I took my degrees years off. Then once again, it kind of perked up a lot. So.
I purposely removed the year for my 2 degrees. Those are, if I remember, those aren't on there. It just has my degrees.
Yeah, facts. What did you say, Chris?
I said, I'm sorry, what's Cobalt?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I took it off. There's a lot of COBOL still out there, though, but there's still a ton of COBOL out there.
It's like talking about Java. It's still out there, but...
I love Java, man. I did Java for DOD I still get a lot of calls for Java, which kind of pissed me off. I'm like, dude, did you look at my resume? I ain't touched Java probably in 20 years, and I still get a few calls on Java. So does Chris have a banner at the bottom? We need a banner for Chris.
He does not.
Okay, we need to get.
But I was gonna throw out there, the first thing is I also don't have my year on my degree. Just I don't even think my certifications aren't dated either. And then the other thing is PBO. If you saw in the introduction, it only listed NIST CSF. You don't see 853 until below that. So I just had to call that out for you.
I saw it. I was in the clouds and I saw. I think I heard Chris say it. I was like, oh, but really it was for Flakinator. I think you should take some years off your resume to get you in the door for your beautiful smile. I don't look like young like B-Dubs anymore, man. I'm kind of aging like in dog years.
If you take off that beard, it helps. So when I got rid of my goatee, that helped a lot. Knocked off about 15 years.
I thought I use it though when I come in. I give them I'm mature. I'm here to help B-Dubs be successful. I'm not trying to take any jobs. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, we got several different things lined up. Like Brexy mentions directives to not discriminate applicants based on age. I think every organization at this point, if they don't already have some type of directives for it, they should. But that's a very preventive measure. Like that's the unfortunate part, is that just having a list of principles doesn't stop anything.
Well, and just because they have a directive does not mean that they're following it, because I have experienced issues where they do have a directive listed and they were not following it.
Fine. So I know from one of the places I worked at before, one of my colleagues, female, African American, and she was being interviewed, and afterwards, because it was supposed to be all of her peers, she comes back and goes to all of them, okay, if it's supposed to be my peers, why was there no people of color and no women on the entire thing? Like none of them. It was all white males.
Facts.
Which immediately made the company go, oops. And all of a sudden the interview process for everybody across the board, not just her, but everybody started to change. And it's like, yeah, you have to realize,
there's so much that goes into it though, too. Because also one of the other things that I heard about recently was it had to do with tooling, for an example. So a company was actually looking for a bunch of machinist tooling engineers and so forth, but the company's policies dictated that they had to have diversity, and they couldn't find enough diversity within that particular industry. So yeah, then that created an issue and so forth.
Yeah.
And I've seen that at other organizations as well, like when I was welding and so forth. So I think it's a lot easier to, put on paper than to follow, but it is an important thing to note that, like, I think there needs to be a lot of checks and balances with it as well.
It does
And
also depend on industry.
100%.
And I think another really important factor that I don't hear talked about enough is also who's involved in the hiring process. I think we talked about that a little bit before too, with like panel interviews and things like that. You could also have that diverse as well.
Yeah. So something on the resume I'd like to call out. I like the breakouts in the sense of like personal experience. Well, one, the sizing's not right to the two, but that's not I don't know if I'm a fan of the fact that they have the blue lines there, like the blue lines everywhere.
I just don't like the capitalization and the font size.
The capitalization and stuff I would definitely get rid of. Like,
yeah,
if you're gonna like make them all match. But I don't know. I don't know about the emphasis with the blue part. I know you want to break it up and you want to section it. I don't know. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying more of I'm not sure, because like PBO is making faces, which is fine. It really depends on who's looking at the resume, right? Some people are going to look at that and go, oh gosh, no. They might even go like free thinker. We don't want that. Or, or some people might go, hey, free thinker, we want that. Let's go. It's you don't know. It's hard to know.
But you're never going to be able to please everybody.
You won't. Whether that'll make you stand out or not, I don't know.
Well, what I wonder is, based on the blue and the different font sizing, did they use a template? Because if they used a template and that's preventing them from having consistent formatting, just to get that blue and whatever, it looks nice, but also when you use a template, from what I've been told, it doesn't go through ATS very well either. So something to think about.
I know
it's always better to just write it from scratch, like a blank document, no template. Keep it simple.
One comment, if you scroll down a bit, Chris, between page 1 and 2 there, the fact that 1 goes to the second page and it's part of the upper experience or whatever, that needs to be fixed.
And one of the notes I was going to make is that a lot of these, well, first of all, they're not really using bulletin points, which I think look cleaner, but then also these are pretty long. So having, 2 lines for the sentences.
Yeah. Well, no, sorry, finish, Chris.
Oh, no, that was just like that formatting portion.
I would also mention that they're not doing stuff like collaborating with stakeholders to prioritize controls using the PCI DSS prioritized approach tool, ensuring audit readiness, which is great. But what about help, improve process, or you need to say what the result was, like improved efficiency by 10%, or ticket closure was increased by, or you need. It sounds silly, but unfortunately, you need to say that kind of stuff.
No, you got to get your star on.
Even if it's not totally right, you still have to come up with something companies can't check. So you could be like, increased efficiency by 300%. Well, they can't check. If your numbers are outrageous, they're obviously going to be like, you're lying.
Facts.
But, that's for some reason, that's what companies want to see now.
Facts. The STAR technique, which I struggle with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to show some results even in GRC. PBO did a great job. 50%.
Situation, task, action, result. And this is also goes into what I wanted to discuss after we go through these resumes too, is the STAR method and an easier method to do it. Overall, I mean, this is it doesn't say present, so it was just a short internship.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
But it's the same company too.
Okay. So that might be an issue. Well, because what's interesting, if you look, there's gaps of 3 months per spot. So the question is, was it an internship, or was it more like class coursework where they got to, during the course, they led a little group of led 2 6-person teams or not? Because each one, if you look at them, are both 3 months apart, right? If I'm reading that right.
Yeah. Doesn't look like a course type thing now.
And that's too consistent. Yeah, is that O2 between that one? Yeah, between the one and the other. Yeah.
That's a good pickup.
Oh, here we go, Chris. In additional experience, internal auditor and operations support. That one I think should go to the top because that says current. Personally, I know you're going for a GRC role, but you really want to put your current job up top too, so they know what you're doing. And from a lot of what I've heard, right, and a lot of what people say, audit is a great path to GRC. So seeing someone who's an auditor means you've dealt with policies on the back end, you've reviewed, you've done controls, you've done all this stuff. That is kind of possibly your foot in the door.
Yeah, there's so many issues with this though too, because it says 2012 to current.
So how does that work while you're doing your internship? Would be my question.
There's a lot of inconsistencies with this resume and so forth. Like,
Thanks.
I would scrap this entire thing and put the actual material on here, because just looking at all of the different stuff on here, I honestly think that it's not even legitimate, to be honest.
Well, I hope that 2012 is a typo and should be 2022, because they also have their date on their bachelor's degree and they graduated in 2021 with a Bachelor of Science in Cybersecurity. Unless, that's not to say they went to college later in life, I don't know.
So one tell to me is thinking that 2012 is possibly right is if you scroll down, it says they're the CISSP.
Yeah,
and you need 5 years, and you need 5 years of experience.
But also another key thing to note there is that there are people who can get the verification without actually having the 5 years. They just need people to vouch for them.
That's true. But
there's services that people will actually pay to just vouch for the experience.
Yeah, they do have a Sec Plus and the CISA as well. So, that says it's in progress. Well, so to me, that's another question too, is if you want to go to the GRC role and get away from audit, then why are you going for a CISA, which is typically obviously meant for an auditor?
And this is why I'm saying that I think that this is largely not correct information, because also, like, if you are experienced with audit and cybersecurity and you've done these other things, why would you go off and get the CC, which is a relatively new thing in the first place? Like, it just doesn't add up.
Another thing I would say is don't put your GPA. There's no need for the GPA to be listed.
Yeah, you don't need your GPA. Another thing that I would recommend, and I know people tell you, if you're actively trying to get a certification to put it's in progress, I would say don't do that. Especially, like, I know ISC squared is really bad or really big on it. You cannot list that certification on your resume if you do not have it. I don't even think that you can put that it's in progress. So.
You said something. So it's something to check out. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'm PBO's in violation. I'm gonna go check it out.
I've had people tell me that you can do that, but then I don't think that you can.
I think
because you can say that. Well, you can say that something is in progress, and I'm gonna go get it. Give me 2 months, or whatever the case, but you're not, like, really, you just have it on there for the ATS.
So it shouldn't be on there for a couple years. Hint, hint. It shouldn't be on there for a couple years.
Like, it shouldn't be on your resume unless you have the certification.
I'm not trying to provide legal advice, but maybe sometimes you should shut your mouth there. Just
I want out of smoke. I want out of smoke.
The only time I think where I would, which goes against what B-Dubs is saying, is like if it's for a degree, like bachelor's, master's, or whatever, you can put, I think, expected graduation date or completion
you can
date.
Put that. That's different. That's totally different.
But certs, I don't think you can do certs.
If you're currently enrolled, you're a student, you're at WGU or whatever other university out there, and you're currently enrolled, absolutely put that. But for certifications, it's a little bit different. I would not put that it's in progress ever.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
So
I would not do it personally. That's me.
yeah, and
Put it at
my
your own
understanding
risk.
is that it's a gray area. So it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like I've seen people who actually go through and take the exams for the CISSP or the CISA, for an example, and then they don't have the experience requirement, but then they still go around telling people that they have the certification, and it's not hard to verify.
Which I
And
think
so it creates a gray area if you put in progress, but
Yeah.
Well-
I don't think it explicitly disallows it.
Why-
But
I thought the
definitely a gray area.
CISSP, they have two levels. They have one level where you can
Mhm.
pass the tests, but you don't have the experience. So it's not like what is it, the full blown one or whatever.
And
but
you're just an associate of
yeah,
ISC
that's it.
squared. You still cannot put CISSP on your resume.
oh, okay.
The other thing is, I'm speaking from experience that someone has literally told me when I was trying to break into the industry. They were like, "Hey, well, this is a highly sought after certification. Put it on your resume that it's in progress, even though I was not actively studying for it." And then if they ask questions, like, go grab the certification real quick. And I'm like, no,
And-
that
No,
doesn't
that's
sound
not-
right. I'm
no,
not going
that's
to
not
do
the-
like, but someone
not the
told
right
me
way to do
that.
it.
So I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that out there. Don't do it.
And so we're
here it says you
derailing a
can
little
include
bit here.
associate in your resume, but not which exam. Okay. I
Yeah,
see
and
that.
so I wanted to pull this up, and I'm going to drop this in chat too. I know we're derailing a little bit, but this typically coincides with almost all of the different organizations. This is Thor Teaches, really awesome individual. I think they have their LinkedIn information on here as well. A very experienced practitioner and instructor for ISC Squared. In this very short message here, he outlines what you can and cannot do regarding the CISSP, but the same thing typically coincides with ISACA as well. With their certifications too, because it's their professional ethics, which is typically what's conflicting. But then also, like, if you pass the CISSP exam, you can't go around saying that you passed this. Technically, it's breaking the rules if you even say you passed the exam. Technically. So and I think it depends on how far over that line you go, but eventually that could catch up to you, and then you can't do anything with them at all, and then you get blacklisted and can't even be a member. So it's very touchy. And I think now that there's even more of these services, like, I don't know about you guys, but like almost every other day I'm getting messages on LinkedIn of people saying, oh, hey, pay me $600 and I'll get you the CISSP. I'm like, it costs more than that. What do you mean? So yeah.
Well, you give them their money, you give them the money, Chris, and they disappear. So there you go. That's probably all it is.
No,
Except for the fact that I've talked to people who knew people who paid that, and yeah, they got caught too. That's one of the quickest ways to, really get messed up.
Well, the funniest part about this, right, is, and I think we've all had this discussion, is the most important thing is being honest. So right there, you're already like, hey, come on, like, you want this job in cyber that gives you access to all these crazy things, and you're not even being honest as to what your experience and your certs are. Like, come on.
Yeah, and we'll jump into this next resume here in just a second. But also, like Shungo mentions, that they disagree, and you should put in progress. I mean, we're just providing our recommendations and so forth. Like, I think it's a gray area. B-Dub says that you shouldn't. It's just recommendations and so forth. Yeah. I try to really take it from, it's information security, and the utmost integrity is important. We've seen resumes on this stream alone where people have 3 different ones in progress. So,
and that's my personal opinion. Yeah. I don't provide legal advice. I'm not qualified to provide legal advice. So, take it how you want it. But that's my interpretation. Yeah. I'm staying far away from putting in progress on any certifications. Feel free to do what you want.
Honestly, well, yeah, Chef is right. Be the I in CIA, right? In the triad, be integrity. But for you, Shungo, I mean, if it's really a question, and I guess for all of us, really, if it's a question on, like, can I do this for the CISSP or whatever the cert is, I'm sure that whatever company has that cert, if you send them an email and say, hey, I'm job hunting, I'm in progress of studying for this, is it okay to put this on my resume saying I'm in progress, and see what they actually say? Because in the end, they're the authority on it. So if like ISACA comes back for whatever cert, or the ISC Square comes back and says, yeah, no, They're the ones who will know, not any of us.
I'm offended by Chris's banner. I think
I like
B-Dub,
the new disclaimer.
I
I
like
think
it. It's
B,
close to matching my shirt color.
I think B-Dubs is giving very aggressive advice today,
So
not me.
aggressive.
PBO's just offended.
Yeah, I'm just offended now.
I
Shout out to Shuggo. I don't know. B-Dubs
Yeah.
got me leaning and taking it off now. I think she's kind of convincing me now. Because mine's been on for about 3 years.
I
And I
mean,
think-
do what you want, but
and I think that's part of
also-
it, PBO.
Yeah, and also Brexy agrees with putting in progress that it is kind of acceptable. Just expect to have blowback from interviewers. Yeah, and I think it really does come down to personal choice. Like if you're willing to take that risk or otherwise, like that's up to you. I personally wouldn't put in progress on my resume.
or especially
even if I
if
have it paid
you're
for.
if you are looking to get into the industry and you don't have PBO experience,
Well,
expect
yes.
to not even get an interview in the first place.
Correct.
Thank you,
So-
B-Dubs.
Yeah. PBO's
so-
different because he has the experience.
She's right. And I'd be tearing interviewers up. I'd be tearing
Mhm.
interviews up. So
So-
now that's a good point. Shout
Yeah,
out to B-Dubs.
and to be honest, one of the questions, if I saw that on someone's resume, if I brought them in from you, a question would be, I see that you're like CISSP or whatever's in process. When is your expected date? Like I would
Yeah,
flat out be
that's-
asking, like when, because like you said, PBO, you said yours has been there 3 years. You know, and I'm not shaming or anything. I mean,
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
an easy-
I'm
from what
a-
I know, it's not an easy exam.
I'm a big boy fleckinator.
Yeah.
I don't take anything personal. It's
Okay.
all love up here. So no, you don't have to.
You know,
But-
but you also have the knowledge, PBO,
Yeah.
and experience to back it up. You know, where some people that have it in progress are putting it, like B-Dubs was saying, probably just to get the hit on it, so it makes its way through, so someone can look at it.
I mean,
But-
make ethical decisions, have
Yeah.
integrity. If you're putting it on there just for ATS, rethink your choices. If you are actively studying, then it's your choice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And-
be
I
study
provide-
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna
provide
be
my
this study.
advice, but
Yeah.
you know,
Facts.
And to me, the last thing is, if you seriously aren't sure and want to know, email the place that has
Okay.
it, and whatever they say is what you should do,
I rather
because
ask
they're the
both.
ones in the end that'll say, you were doing this,
Yeah.
they checked, we told them nope.
Facts.
Now, moving on to this next one here, I have also marked out some of the different questions. So if you guys have questions and we skipped over it, you guys can always drop it again or otherwise. I have 5 different ones pinned already for us to review later, and then also along the way, certainly. So,
All right.
Yeah, and
First
then also
off-
I got to give it to him for changing the name up here to Donkey Kong. So
First
that's
off,
I love
great.
it.
I was going to say, nice job to Donkey Kong, who knew he had this gig going on as well.
Mhm.
Must have been tough, especially being in the movie and all the games and stuff. You know, it's tough. The format and layout is horrible.
Facts.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Horrible.
Not only
You
the
got
horrible
it.
on the
No.
left, but it's
No
hard to
way.
read. And it's way too much material, even for their experience.
Well, I'd be curious as to how the systems even process that if they do.
Yeah, well, and like I said before, I personally stay away from the templates. I start with a blank Word document and just type it up.
I don't know.
Yeah, see, I know I was using a template for mine, but I wouldn't go after that. I would go after like a very simple template that had like, you know, first name, last name, you know, phone number, email, whatever it was, you know, like, and it had the really quick, really
Well,
simple, nothing
I'm
fancy.
just-
but
I'm just going to
that-
throw this
yeah.
out there. This is my personal opinion.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but if
it's okay,
you're
we got the
looking
disclaimer
for
going.
yeah, read the disclaimer below. But if you're looking for a job in GRC and you can't type up a resume from a blank document, you need to
Yeah.
practice more.
Fair point.
Wow.
Fair point.
I don't know if I'm going that far, but but for me,
I mean,
gotta-
all it is some text, a little bold, some bullets. It's really simple. So
this, and I don't know, and I'm a curmudgeon. Unless somebody friend passed me this resume, I swear to God, I probably would just wouldn't even look at it.
Me too.
Somebody
I
would,
wouldn't.
somebody would have to come to me and be like, we need you to really look at this PBO. We really like this person. If somebody just gave me this
Trash.
resume,
Shredder.
I'd be like, dude, for me, this looks like a high school kind of like somebody was, I don't know if B-Dubs got me leaning that way. just something about this just kind of really irks me.
So
Um,
to me, I think this is a format that was used like 15 years ago, right? Maybe a little bit more, and then eventually went away with it because it's not really a professional look. Yes, it makes you stand out, but not in the way you want.
But
Also, I really don't think the systems will process it properly. I would also assume that the
but
system is designed not to process something like this on purpose because no one wants to see it. Having the
but
giant icons where it says profile, employment history, like, no. Like that just takes up extra space. It doesn't need to be there. Too many, like at least under system administrator, there's way too many things listed. Way too many. I feel like the profile is too long, but it's also hard to tell because it's squished. So from a
yeah,
spacing standpoint, it makes it tough to really know.
yeah, I think that's a lot of really good shout outs. Yeah, and honestly, I would just scrap the whole thing. They do have a lot of different metrics. This person does have a lot of experience as well, I would say. They have the associates in computer servicing and electronics, a BS in, yes, I'm going to say BS in management information systems, and an MS in information security and digital forensics.
I
So
would
first of
remove the
all, that
dates
is
too from the
yeah,
degrees.
I think that's absolutely awesome. Progression there. A lot of really good experience throughout this too. It is 3 pages, but I think this could also like be condensed down to 2 pages.
Oh,
But
easily,
also this
because you can get rid of a
individual,
lot of bullets.
yeah, I was gonna say is like, yeah, I would probably reduce the bulletins. I believe we talked before, like 6 bulletins on your first one. To be honest with you, I think the length of the bulletins are probably okay for the existing. Just because of their years of experience. Like this individual has 15 plus years of experience, and they're only applying to these, more senior roles. So I could see the first one being 6 bulletin points, and be more lengthy, and then condense down these next ones, and try to knock it into 2 pages, which if you take away this left-hand side, I think you probably could.
Yeah, I would say
Well,
4 to 6 maximum. And also, Cyber Research says this is from a resume generator. I have a friend who showed me the exact same format of one he did.
oh,
So
yeah,
I wonder if it's one of those AI resume generators as well.
maybe. You should get rid of references too. There's no point to ever put references on your resume. Honestly, I
Yeah.
think I did a handful of interviews and other stuff, and only one place ever asked for references because it was a placement place.
but
And they asked for references. And to be honest, I always thought references were the stupidest thing, right? Because if someone goes, I want references, if my buddy's PBO and B-dubs and I are enemies, am I really going to give B-dubs as my reference? No, I'm going to give the
but
person who I know is going to give me a good reference.
I hope you
So,
do.
yeah,
no.
thanks.
I do
But,
like how they
right?
have key projects underneath their existing role, though. I think that's something we don't see enough.
You like the key projects?
I think
Yeah,
it's a
I do
good
like
idea.
Well, I guess for me, it doesn't explain what the key projects are.
Yeah.
True.
So it just said, okay, key projects. I'm trying to do a course. Key projects. I'm in B-dubs, CISP.
Yeah.
What is the key project? If I say key project, I work for the state and we gave $34 billion. PBO's the man. I was leading the GRC team. He just says, I did a group central camera room build out. Especially
Yeah,
from
I
a
don't.
GRC. I'm not feeling that, Chris.
I mean,
I'm attacking Chris personally because he said he liked it.
I don't like this one, but I do agree about a project section because, to be honest, for me, projects, when I moved that to the top of my resume above my experience because I didn't have the cyber, that got me calls. This, as you said, PBO doesn't tell you a damn thing.
Yeah, so for me,
Other than you built out a group central camera room, which means, okay, I could probably build one out here in my house if I wanted to. I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
And another
Um,
mention here is reducing graphics for ATS too. So kind of like
Facts.
B-dubs mentioned, is just run off of a non-template.
Yeah.
oh, let me do a disclaimer. As the kids say, no disrespect to the resume as we about to disrespect it. So no disrespect.
No offense, but
Yeah, no offense. As
Yeah.
we shred it up. No disrespect. as we
PBO, you and I are old. We're more than happy to offend.
Yeah.
hey,
No, I like
the
when the
only
kids. Go ahead,
the only reason I am not nice is because these are anonymous. Nobody knows it's you. And I really want to help people have actionable
Oh,
items, you know,
100%.
and things that really help them instead of saying, "Oh yeah, you know, I can see all the hard work you did on your resume. Great job."
Oh
Facts.
yeah, no, we're not. These aren't kindergartners. We're not. Everybody's not getting a trophy. Hell with
We
that.
got
That's ridiculous.
they have
No,
15
and
years of experience too. Keep
yeah,
going, Falconer. They have 15 years. Go ahead, Falconer.
no, I agree with B Dubs that one, it's anonymous, so it's not like we're purposely ripping apart so and so's resume. We don't know whose it is. And to be honest, the way we're ripping it apart is how if it makes it to a human being, they'll do the same thing, which means you're still not going to get the job.
Facts.
And so
my only issue is, real quick, Chris, is
mm-hmm.
the worse your resume is, the better your skills need to be.
Yeah.
So if you got a bad template, I need to be like, okay, I see that they did Archer, they did AWS, they ran the whole team. So if you got a crappy resume, your skills better be off the chart.
Yeah, CPBO is allowed to have a bad resume.
Nice.
You're allowed to put certs in progress.
I appreciate you. B-Dubs. But
I think the disclaimer keeps scrolling along.
I think I'm gonna take it off though. You got me. I'm leaning forward taking it off. When Chris said it, I was hurt personally, but with you,
I mean, you got to think about the CIA triad. So
no, that's a good point. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So then this next one, they didn't fully redact it. You know, we have their phone number up here, so I don't know where that goes, but I guess we'll find out. Somebody will.
Oh man.
I'm going to call it right now.
Call it and ask, hello, is there a first name there?
Facts. Is this the third resume, obviously?
This is the third out of 4.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 4 going. Okay. Oh, damn.
Yep, so this one and one more. And then we have some questions I marked out that are good discussion topics. And then also I wanted to show like a star method thing as well, because we talk about that so much as well. I did want to address this too. So Cyber Research says, this is not a GRC resume review, is it? I know this is study GRC, but I think we're doing a lot of nitpicking. So really, like the resumes and so forth, like it's pretty diverse, and there's such a overlap with cybersecurity, especially within our communities. So yeah, I mean, it seems pretty common. But you can also see on that previous resume too, they did take the GRC masterclass, and for all we know, they're trying to position towards that GRC side as well. Which what I hope to see happen is they'll modify their resume, they'll submit it again or otherwise, or come back to us to have another take. And then at that time, then we could give more advice on like, well, maybe you should direct it this way if you're going this way or that way. You know, what are your goals and so forth. So, yeah.
So
we are being nitpicky, but also if we're not, you know, a lot of these resumes might get picked up by a hiring manager and just thrown out.
Put up what Brexy says, Chris.
This one?
Yep.
I have to review hiring several times, and yeah, in the first round, resume is about nitpicking, bad format, typo, wrong dates, or just ugly fonts, gone. Yeah, and it's the same thing that goes through the hiring process. Yeah, that's a really good mention on the fact that like
facts.
It's one of the big reasons why we try to keep this as anonymous as possible. So you could submit it completely anonymously and we don't know who the hell you are. And also while we go through this, when I prep this, even if you do provide your information, I don't even have it in an order that I know whose is whose. So yeah, definitely. The only reason this is not called a resume roast is just for marketing purposes. But it's designed to be as helpful as possible and definitely questions. And there's a lot of really awesome stuff that people are throwing in chat too.
And I'm gonna throw mine out there. My resume looked like it was from the 1990s, and shout out to B-Dubs and everybody helped me kind of at least get it into the early 2000s. So I'm trying to get there.
That's how mine was too, PBO, until I had a lot of help.
No, you good, Cyber Research. It's all good.
Yeah, no, Cyber Research, we're good enough to derail ourselves, but we're always happy to have some help too. I guess for Shungo, his question is asking me about like formatting projects or wording current projects on your resume. I mean, that's a hard one. I mean, like if you're doing projects, say with a Raspberry Pi, you want to mention that you have a Raspberry Pi, which right off the bat, if someone knows a Raspberry Pi means Linux, and you don't even have to mention it. I would say you then also want to say what you're doing. Are you running Pi-hole? Are you running a VPN server? Are you doing some crazy cool project? You know, are you doing what is it? Magic Mirror, which is one I've always wanted to do. I never got around to. You just want to kind of similar to how you would do like cite your experience. You would say what you give the project a name and throw a couple bullets in there. That's how I was doing stuff. I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be anything special, but it has to be enough information that you kind of want to assume that the person that's potentially reading it might not really know what it is. So you're giving enough that someone can figure it out, but not too technical. Because sometimes the first level people that are looking at this are not technical at all.
Well, and there's also a whole thing on IT recruiters as well, technical recruiters. And yeah, this one that is up right now, like they have a table here at the bottom for their certifications, and we could talk more about this one, but
I'd say that should go.
I don't like the table.
I feel like the table's just there to hit all the terms that they need.
Even if you left the text that's there, I don't like the table just in formatting on a resume.
Well,
and you know I don't like a skills section.
Yeah, my point was to try to show a good example as far as the projects, because we've covered that before too, and had some really good ones where they listed out their projects at the bottom.
But I would say, Chris, if you don't have the experience, maybe the project should go to the top, because, you know, even if you keep all the same info, once it makes it to a human, whatever they see at the very top is what they see first. And if they don't see something good that they're looking for at the very top, they're going to probably dump it before they even make it to your projects at the end, which might show some of the cyber experience that you don't have from a work standpoint.
Yeah, I think it really makes it difficult, because also, like, we've seen some where they list out, I don't know, 10 different projects at the get-go, and the whole first page is projects or otherwise.
Yeah,
so there's definitely a level of balancing there, but definitely I agree on the fact of, like, let them know of what you're working on and what you can do.
Well, and it's also like, if you're going for a GRC role, to use an example as GRC, you want your projects, like, even if you've done 30 projects, yeah, you can list them all, but you really want to just list the projects that are mainly GRC. If you're going for an audit role, mainly the projects that are just for audit. Like, you want to, because you don't want this resume to be like 50 pages long. So you want to make sure you're emphasizing the experience that you have that goes towards what you're looking for. Because if you make it to the interview, you could always drop information about some extra skills you have that might also help, that aren't specifically GRC or audit or, you know, blue team or red team or whatever else it is. I will say, from the experience point, though, I'm not a fan of this. Vulnerability scanning analyst, that's fine. But then having this little paragraph here and then bullet points, too much.
It is it's a little busy.
It's too much information.
Yeah, it's
I like
far
the
too much
professional summary
information,
that it's short.
I also wanted to highlight that they also have the CISA cyber hygiene vulnerability scanning, Sci-Hi.
You know, I saw that.
Oh yeah.
What is that? Is that I don't even know what that is. Is that a service?
Yeah, it's services that use tools such as Nexus and Map. So they're just talking about recommended tools for vulnerability scanning.
I guess my only issue in their professional experience, they talk about the STIGs, and that's 800-53. They don't have any of that in their professional summary. So with 15 years, I would be pumping that up. I'm like, I'm a STIG guy, I'm a DOD guy, I'm a NIST 800-53 big dog guy. So I saw that. I think if you scroll down, I don't see any of that in their summary. That would catch my eye. Of course, you know, that's what I like. But
this is when you have to say, you know, shout out to me.
Facts. So,
well, yeah, I mean, so your professional summaries where you can emphasize some of those really important things, because it doesn't really tell you almost anything other than, you know, 4 years of experience from various roles in the field. Well, that's nice, but that still doesn't tell me anything. 15, you know, spending over 15 years in several industries for building other technical and interpersonal skills. Again, you still haven't told me anything. Like, your professional summary really hasn't told me anything specific that'll make me want to even go past that one sentence to look at anything else.
So
And you might have amazing stuff afterwards, and it sounds like they do, but
Yeah, I think what it
Yeah.
really comes down to is that it's just too much information, and especially if you're submitting this to a recruiter, like that's a lot off the bat. Something else I was going to mention too that's harder to see on the shared screen is so these fonts for their information, it's a smaller font. It actually looks like it might be a different font too.
Oh yeah,
But I
no.
think they made this smaller because they were trying to get this on one page so it didn't cut off. I think that looks really weird with how the top section is lined out with this.
I'm
Well,
also
you can take your phone number off, and then you don't need the labels. You don't need email, GitHub, and LinkedIn, because you can tell by the link what it is, and then
Correct.
you can just put them all three on one line. So
I also would personally say the name should be centered.
yes,
That's just, me.
Yeah, and even reading over the bulletin points, like it seems pretty boilerplate. Automating data collection required for false positive analysis. Like
That doesn't seem like a person really wrote it. Seems more like an AI wrote it.
Well, and it's calling out things that are built into these, like Nexus, for an example, for the automations and scraping the information.
So to me, what that would tell me right away is that this person may have that years of experience, but they don't actually have the experience, because if they did, they'd be able to write it in a better way that's different than just, the basic way.
Or they could just be really, really bad at putting it in, or they just didn't spend the time on it, maybe.
But either way, you're still right. Yep. So the resume also reflects who you are when they're going to look at it, right? So if your resume is poorly put together, and mine was, it sounds like PBOs might have been too, because ours were so old at
Facts.
the time, from the last time we were doing a job hunt thing.
Facts.
They needed to be updated, because even if everything on it is the most amazing information and the skills and the experience are amazing, and if someone actually really looked at the resume and really read it, they'd be like, whoa, this person's awesome, I want them. If it's not
like
something
that's what
someone
Cam
even
was
wants
saying.
to read, you're going to look at it and also think about the person at the same time of, well, they maybe didn't put the time in, and they maybe this, well, why would I want them here if they're not putting the time into their resume to find a job? What kind of
I feel
job
like
did they
that's
actually
what
do
Cam
here?
was saying in his short message here on,
Yeah.
to showcase what you can do,
Yep.
not just what rooms you've been in. And then
Yeah.
also Rhonda has a really good example here too. So always make the summary about how your skills and experience align with the positions you are applying for. Address those pain points.
Correct.
How are you of value? And yeah, I think this is another one where it's a lot of information. Leveraging the security.txt file for an example, and they have the reference for that, the RFC as well. Like, I mean, with that amount of experience, mapping the continuous monitoring SOPs to NIST 853. What do you think about that one, PVO?
I like it. I would kind of put that in the summary, and like Fleckner just said, I probably would enhance this some. So you're mapping it. Why did you map it?
Yep.
This is STIGs. Those are actually hardening. Did you harden an Oracle database? Name the specific technologies and why you were hardening them. Was it for DoD? Was it for the IRS? There's a few different agencies. So
And-
I will put that above. Go ahead, Fleckner.
Well, and some of that, like the DoD and other stuff, might be obvious where the redacted part is for what the place was. So if that's, like if you could look at that and some of the redacted stuff says it was a government something or this, that might answer the question. But I do agree that, yeah, they need to expand it. And like you also said, they have all this experience. Why is nothing mentioned in the summary at the top?
That
They
stuff.
should totally be mentioning,
Yeah,
because all
that's-
these things would hit.
Yeah.
Someone would look at it and be like GRC or some other cyber role, and they'd be like, oh, heck yeah, look at all this experience, look at all the stuff they've
Okay.
actually done.
Facts.
Yep. Yeah, we definitely the summary section there as well. And then
And look,
then we
professor,
also have the professional
counselor,
experience at the very bottom. So
come on, yeah.
an instructor, counselor, mobile
That should be
device sales.
The adjunct should be definitely in a professional experience of
Yeah, even if they only did it in the fall and not again. Still, the fact that you were able to be an adjunct instructor, depending on where it was.
Yeah.
If it's
Anywhere.
one of those scam places that ended up getting shut down, that's a whole different story.
Hey,
But you still at least were able to do it.
he's a
and the fact that you
flakinator.
don't mention your Linux skills
Facts.
in the summary, like that. Yeah.
Quick story time. Flaking.
Yes.
Nobody knew this, but I actually ended up working on one of those scam universities called ITT Tech that got shut down. I didn't know
I
it was
remember
a
them.
scam.
I remember them.
But I did work for a more community college that was much more reputable. I did that as a side job. The weird thing though is I love working at ITT. 30% of my students were homeless that lived in a shelter, which I thought was crazy. But
Oh,
different story time. Go ahead, Chris. Different story time.
Also, is your resume written in Latin, PBO?
It could have been my stuff was sold, but y'all notice I got my computer
Stone and
science
chisel.
degree in 1990. Man, I mean my degree's almost older than B-dubs. Man, I mean so
my bachelor's degree is from 93 and my master's is from 08.
my master's from 1998.
Woo.
So yeah, my degrees are in Latin. No, I'm just playing. But real quick, that stuff you should put in your summary because I do federal work. So in my summary, I'm talking about NIST. I'm talking about my federal clients.
Yep.
I'm talking about STIG. I'm a federal compliance guy, right? So that's in my summary. That's my specialty. Wow. I think I'm gonna sign out. B-dubs hurt my feelings. but
That is not public information, PBO.
okay, my bad. Chris gonna block that out. But yeah, so I think
so
that
another mention here too is like the clearances. We've talked about that before too, and putting that at the very top as well. If you're going to put it on your resume.
Oh heck yeah! I mean, there's so many jobs out there that want clearances, and if you don't have the clearance, they'll never even let you in. So the fact that you're not like advertising at the top of your resume and almost like flashing letters or whatever, I have a secret and public trust clearance, you're missing out on so much.
Especially the secret.
Yeah, that could be the make or break on whether or not it immediately goes in the trash because they're going to look at the top. Almost all of the resumes I've seen, they put the top secret or whatever clearance they have up at the top next to their name or whatever.
Correct.
So that way it's right off the bat and they're like, okay, we don't have to drop 60K into them.
There's a lot of jobs on Indeed. You can't apply for them unless they tell you to apply for this job. You need a secret or a top secret.
Yeah, we will not sponsor you. Almost all of them say they will not sponsor for it. You have to have it, which eliminates what, like 80% of the people that could apply. I mean, maybe 90.
Thanks.
I also find it odd that they do have a lot of this experience here, but they only have the associates for cybersecurity, which isn't a bad thing. I just find that interesting, to be honest.
No,
not
the
rest of the experience that they have.
No, that's common. In the older days, you didn't. Once you got in, you needed a degree. So a lot of times, if you had an associate, that was enough to get you in. Because a lot of times, people wanted you to work for them. So if you got an associate, you can get in and run with it. So
yeah, well, I know for me, my degree's in hospitality, so mine wasn't even in computers. My undergraduate, and then I went into computers later. But my master's is in computers, information systems management. But yeah, you're right, PBO. Basically, back in the day, like maybe you needed an associate's, maybe, but once you got in, that was fine. No one cared. You didn't need anything else more. But now, sometimes that even goes by your pay scale, right? Like just getting all of a sudden a degree kicks you into a different channel for your pay scale.
Shout out to Davy Crockett. But yeah, and that's the big deal now is college a scam. I see so many it's college a scam videos, so that's gonna be my next video.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna say it's not a scam, but we can talk about that later. But once again, I think the secret and top secret need to be at the top. Obviously, you got some federal experience, and there's a lot of private companies that do federal work. So that's kind of one of the things I push about myself. I'm a federal guy. I do big systems. I'm a DoD guy. I'm an IRS guy. So I would definitely push that to the top.
Well, to be honest, with the clearances and even like the pen test plus, sec plus, and Linux plus, like man, you should be selling those too, along with like
Yeah.
some of the other stuff. Jira, I don't know how many people, like I don't know how amazing Jira would be, or even Remedy. But like, depending on what you did with AWS and Docker containers and maybe
Yeah.
Elk Stack, like maybe,
Yeah.
but those are
Remedies
probably
are.
at this point a dime a dozen, aren't they?
Well,
Yeah, I would just
Things like-
reorganize this into columns and move
things
the
like
secret up.
things like Jira and whatnot, that would just depend on the job you're applying to.
Correct.
If they have it listed in the job description, it could be valuable, but it depends on the company.
Yeah.
If it's not in the job description, I'd leave it off.
Yeah, but I will put it in one where I used it at the top. Like,
Mhm.
we did this and we did our tickets in Jira or our stand-ups in Jira.
See, that's what
But-
I'm always trying to say, PBO. Put your skills in
So-
your experience
Yes.
and just leave out the skills section, because then
Yeah.
there's no reason to duplicate those words.
So, and
That's
I think that answers Shungo, who was
Mhm.
saying that B-dubs, it's harsh. What do you mean no skills section?
Yeah, and
It's
I
because if
answered
you
them in
put-
chat.
Okay, I was gonna say, because if you put your
Yeah.
skills in everywhere else, you don't need a separate thing. I will say though, like at least there's no weird colors. There's no weird, too weird spacing. I don't feel like there's too much in terms of too many bullets, but I do think that little couple sentences before the bullets shouldn't be there. Try to work
Yeah,
that.
the summary for each one.
Yeah, try to work that if you, depending on what it is, like that first one, I don't think says anything useful. And this one might not either. Yeah, actually, no, I don't think these say anything useful, do they? It's just kind of telling
I think
you.
it does give a high level overview. I personally would probably only put it for the most recent, the
Yeah.
present one.
Yeah.
I think it could be useful to have a short summary, because also that they do have several years of experience and so forth as well. So I could see that being useful. But yeah, I think a large portion does do with that rewrite, make it more applicable. There's also some different terms or otherwise that are thrown in here too that, a recruiter probably doesn't know about.
So here's the other thing, right? And I'm doing a lot of documentation where I am, and I've always been a documentation person. I enjoy documentation. I have something wrong, obviously, in my head. You cannot put stuff down like where it says the Sci-Hi VS if you do not say what it is before it. You just cannot.
Facts.
You have to tell, like, binding operational directive BOD. Perfect. If the person had just said like investigating BOD, nope, can't do it, because you can't assume that people have any clue what it is, because I'd have no clue what BOD was. Like, I mean, honestly, even though it says binding operational directive, I still don't fully know what it means, but I'll be honest with that. But you have to define what it is. The moment you define it somewhere, you can then start using BOD everywhere else. Not a problem.
Welcome to the party, pal, ZMF. Yeah, and then Bruise and Hacks had a question here too. What about taking the info from those paragraphs above the bulletin points and moving them to the professional summary and making it more concise?
Facts.
Yeah, and I think that'd probably be a pretty good move.
It might be
Yeah.
hard though to combine from all of them, because it is a good amount of information in each one. Because you also don't want it to be more than like 2, maybe 3 sentences for your professional summary. But no, it's a really good suggestion.
Yeah. Like
And
again,
yeah, sure, ZMF. Just send me your redacted resume on Discord. I'll go ahead and throw yours up right now.
Yeah, we'll totally roast it.
but yeah, like we talked about, I would pull what you believe are your strengths from those bullet points. Once again, I'm a NIST guy. I saw the STIG guy. To me, that's DOD or some kind of federal work. So that's kind of what I'm glossing about myself, telling them how great I am about myself. So that's
PBO does that best.
Yeah.
Shout out to me.
Yeah, and to be honest, right, PBO, if you have those 2 clearances,
oh yeah,
you probably really do want to go for government work, because where else you're not going to really use those probably as much in the public sector typically. Unless you're with a contractor with a company that then works with the government.
Yeah, I got clearance because I work with government contracts. So
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You're still in the end going for government.
And the
And
cool
so-
thing is you have them, so you're already cleared to do that type of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this is the fourth one. And then also real quick, Cyber Research mentions a Sci-Hi sticker. I do not like the term of cyber hygiene. I think it's a negative actually, and I would not walk
Wow.
around with a
It's right up there with
Sci-Hi
smishing.
I hate the word hygiene for some reason, but I just thought of because I was an old curmudgeon. I hate when people say cyber hygiene, but I think it's because I'm a curmudgeon.
All right, so for this one, you ready?
I'm ready.
Hit it.
The state part, I don't think that matters. Because if you're going for a job that's on site only, you're obviously going to live nearby. And if you're going for something that's remote, potentially no one cares where you live. Unless you're like 8 hours off time zone wise, and you're going to be like, why I'm not going to work, the hours that the whole rest of the team is, or slightly adjust, maybe then. But I don't think you need to have the state and the US on it. I don't think
would
so.
strongly disagree actually, because there's so many different people who are applying to jobs who are like overseas or across the country. And so specifying like if I'm applying to something within my state, I'd put my city location. But if I'm applying to a remote position,
I kind of disagree because sorry, go B-dubs.
I think putting the state is better than putting your city.
True.
But it does say that, it shows that you're in the US. Sometimes it matters for even remote jobs, which state you're located in because of taxes and different employment purposes. So, I mean.
But I think it's been proven over and over.
But you don't have to have it, but I think it's better than having a city.
But I think it's been proven over and over again. Oh, sorry. Yeah, finish.
Oh, it's fine. I think it's more personal preference at that point.
I also think it's been proven over and over again that the companies really aren't looking well enough because, people from China and all these other countries keep coming in, and right.
So
as long as you're not putting like I'm on the moon, I don't think anyone really truly is looking.
So let me ask you this though: if they're using an ATS system and they tell the ATS system only these states, then wouldn't that be a net positive?
Well, yes, but I also feel like, so a lot of the job hunting when I was doing like on LinkedIn and all the places, a lot of times in the thing, they would say only people from these states. They usually will state, because if you think about it, right? If it's open up to like 6 states only, but you don't mention that, you're going to get resumes from everywhere. And then you still have to sift through them and go, oh, here's another person that's not in one of our 6 states. Why didn't we mention it?
Even when it does mention it, you still get resumes from everywhere. Because people are still gonna just
correct
shoot them off. So that does not help.
Fair point. But at least if you mention it, I don't know. I will say I feel like this does need a professional summary of some kind. I feel like it's weird not having one.
Yeah, I agree.
At least it doesn't have a phone number.
Yeah,
that's true. Their education and certifications should go down towards the bottom. Because I assume they're going for some kind of cyber role, and it says they have some cybersecurity stuff. Now, cybersecurity consultant, self-employed. That's a tough one. I'm not knocking it in any way, but that's a tough one because there's kind of no one you can call to truly verify. Right?
right.
That one makes it a little tougher, but they do have other stuff that's cyber in here. So that's not bad. I think bullet point wise, there's a good amount. I haven't fully looked to see if the information is good in them.
What's your take on it, PBO?
But
I'm kind of with Flakenator on that. It's something about the format of the education. Just I don't know because it's not aligned. There's something about it I don't like. The experience I saw. I think it's
because there's one line that has 2 certificates on it. And the others have 1.
Oh, maybe because one's part of CSA. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on a sec. So the TCM security, is that an actual cert? Like, is it one that's recognized cert?
Yeah, the PJPT is on job applications too.
Okay, I'm only asking, right? Because sometimes people will go through something, get the cert, but it's not something that anyone actually would recognize.
Yeah.
So it's a certification rather than a certificate.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Where's the
I mean, it's a
professional?
proctored exam and everything.
Oh, okay.
Or
Fair
not?
enough.
It's not proctored. But it's monitored. I don't know.
All right. No, fair
Oh.
enough.
Yeah.
I'm more of asking because I don't know. That's kind of why.
Yeah.
The professional summary's missing. I think the last one had it, so I'm
Yeah.
looking for the. Even though I don't think they have
that's
much.
definitely something.
I think they don't have a lot of experience. I think that's the reason they're left off. But I think you need one.
You still need to have one.
So
You
yeah.
always need to have one. What's a cyber range content creator? Clear with
Where's
cross-functional
that?
teams.
Oh, down here.
Achieving a
Right here.
98% accuracy in content relevance and ensuring alignment with the latest industry standards. So it sounds like documentation and policy, possibly, or
I
almost
think
like
that could
or
definitely be expanded on.
or technical writing-ish, maybe.
Yeah, they need to say what it is because I
But
don't like
even know
it.
what it is. Yeah, I don't
I
know
don't
what
like
it
it.
is, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
like it either.
CAD engineer. Yeah, it seems like what 20. Well, they got 2017, so that's obviously they're pivoting into cyber.
They went from CAD stuff, over into cyber.
Yeah, so I like professional summary. I can push you down to the bottom. I like okay, they're self-employed on the PCI stuff.
And that's why I said the self-employed makes it tough, PBO, because they might be doing amazing stuff there, but you can't call someone to truly verify self-employed. It's a little harder. And I'm not knocking it, but it just makes it harder for a company to try to verify if they wanted to.
Yeah, shout out to Chris. I think that's where you need to get your website and your portfolio together. So you can say, this is what I did for a company.
It's in the vibe coding to-do list there. Well, and something else to mention here too is that they have this security analyst position here as well with some of the similar things, and then also projects listed as well. If I was doing something like this as far as self-employed, I would definitely be going into that interview prepped for questions on like, oh, what companies have you worked for that you could talk about? Or, is there anything you could send us on, to showcase your work type of thing?
I would totally ask them about bullet point 3.
Well, and I think that they need more clarification on the bullet points as far as, what they've accomplished in doing that.
Yeah. Right. Bullet point 3 to me jumps out right away, and I would ask a lot of questions on that one.
Where's the star? Where's the R at? Like you said, what's the results of it?
Well, not even that.
Right.
We developed 36 lessons to update an existing Sec Plus 601 course to a 701 for a client. Now, maybe they mention the client. Maybe they're not allowed to mention the client. I don't know. And it's redacted even if they can. But I'd be curious as to so much stuff on that, because that's a long. That would be a very long process.
You think so? For some reason that didn't move me at all. I kind of frowned up a little bit on that.
I don't have a necessary issue with that, because also like you're looking at these other frameworks too and so forth, and like you're looking at 6+ weeks or more on other projects. So,
and I don't know. So my issue isn't with whether that's great or not. It's just that I'd be curious as to how they went about it. How did they do all the documentation? What kind of approval process was needed? Did you get direction from the place?
So that'd be interview prep. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of questions that could be asked just centered on that. Because that can actually tell you a ton of how they will function in the environment when it comes to documenting things and process and following policy and coming up, and how they think about potentially updating in new policies, and would they be good on a team for projects and stuff like that too.
And with that bullet point, the question you're going to ask is, how was your security program ran? And they want you to elaborate on what that means. You did the PCI. So did you do the policies and procedures? Did you help with the hardening? Tell me a place where you did a compensating control or a mitigating control. So you need to have that speech down or your documentation in a website somewhere, so you can show them some stuff of what you accomplished.
Yeah, because it seems like a really simple bullet, like, oh yeah, it's an easy win bullet. It's not.
No, that opens
It's
it
not.
up.
That's why I drilled right into it immediately.
Yeah, so it's like, what did you do? Can you
And then
talk about it?
also looking
What
at
kind
these
of time
cyber
frame?
projects, personally, I think it's kind of messy and it flows way too close to the experience. And I would be putting this like in columns or something.
Yeah.
In
So another.
columns?
Uh-oh,
Oh
B-Dub
no,
gonna
I
get
know.
you.
Or
Oh
something.
no,
Columns?
Boo,
no.
boo.
I will say I'm not a fan of the formatting in the sense of I don't like the cyber project centered and stuff. I don't know why. I think I prefer it to the left. I feel like having like cyber projects bolded and then resource sharing kind of bolded in and close in size to cyber projects with the bullets then underneath it. I feel like from a formatting standpoint, something's not jiving with it. I don't know why.
I think at least putting a divider or something in between the experience and the cyber
And
projects would be a benefit. And then
maybe,
I just don't like how
yeah.
it mimics exact with the experience. It just flows
Yeah.
all together.
Well, maybe that's it. They need like cyber project should have a line going across to like put a true underline divider to it. Two columns may be all the rage, but it's wrong.
Maybe like one of those blue lines that go across.
Boo.
Two
Something.
columns gives me rage.
Yeah, I don't.
I like 3 column, but
That gives me rage too.
Yeah, I
I
guess
like
look
one giant column.
Yeah, I guess for me, and I don't know, just nothing really stands out in this resume that says this is the person, right? No experience summary, nothing in there that just jumped out to me that made me want to see that. Oh, okay, I like this person. Not saying I'm disliking them personally, but there's just nothing that says okay. Like the other one, I saw Stiggs. Of course, I'm a federal guy, but there's just nothing in
another
there.
real
okay,
good
so
mention
you
here
don't
too
like
is
it?
that there's no title here on like what their industry is or what they're going for either.
True.
Looking at this, I have no idea what the hell they're doing.
Well, and that's what the professional summary is for.
Yeah, facts.
So PBO doesn't like it because it doesn't have the NIST 853 or SIGs?
No, it's not even that. I could shout out to Jaime. The PCI just seems so blah. I mean, tell me some stuff about PCI. They just have PCI. What PCIs you well know, B-Dubs? That's a big domain.
Well, I mean, PCI is blah, right?
Yeah, but
let's hope Jamie's Penn is not here.
But let's be real. NIST
gosh.
800-53 is kind of blah, but there's pieces of it that lets you know, okay, as I tell people, I'm about that life. So what?
Hey, Chris, did you get that? We can capture that later for the soundboard, right? PBO saying the 853 is blah.
Oh
Blah.
yes, of course.
I mean, it's recorded forever.
It is blah.
Yeah.
It is blah.
So for this resume, if the person changes only one thing,
Professional summary.
Professional summary.
Summary. Because for me, like you said, it tells me what you're trying to do. I obviously we got some job description out there that you should be kind of mapping that to. Okay, we looking for this or PCI or CSF or.
Yeah, I think it definitely needs to clarify that. But then also ZMAF, what? So just so you guys know, here in just a second, we're going to be transitioning over to another resume here. It was already discussed in chat, so we all know that it's ZMAFs, but I'm not outing him at all this time around just because he's saying GRC is
so from his comment, we're already going to say it sucks. No good. Don't even bother. Just light it on fire and we're done.
I personally hurt ZMAF. That is going too far.
So actually another comment on this is the volunteer and community involvement. Like Wild West Hackenfest Mile High Volunteer 2025. Not knocking it. That's awesome that you're doing some of this stuff, but let's give a little more information.
Yeah, that's actually a really good mention. Yeah.
Like what did you
same thing with these other ones
what
too.
did you do as a volunteer?
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
Great that you're there. It's great that you're volunteering, but to just say volunteer for 2025, there are so many different things you can volunteer for. Like you could be the person moving the chairs around for all we know.
Yeah. You have to really specify and explain your accomplishments and what you did.
Yeah.
Dumb noob.
Back to the noob. But yeah,
I just like it because of the name pick. Nice job.
Yeah. But once again, as a constructive criticism, hopefully just get your resume a level up and hopefully, help you succeed. Once again, I was old and they helped me with my resume. So I'll love.
So right off the bat, I would say for the professional summary at the top, label it professional summary.
I was gonna say I like that
I
it
haven't-
didn't
I
have the
haven't-
title.
I
To
di-
be
I
honest,
didn't-
I love the format.
I didn't read it, but
I don't think
I
it
think
has to be
it's-
labeled. I think it's
No?
obvious what it is.
you're giving people a lot of credit. A lot of
It's
credit.
cleaner. Well,
It
somebody has
is.
to be nice up here.
Oh, I
This
gotta
is
say something.
clean.
Hold on, scroll back up, Chris. Scroll back up. With love, ZMF, you didn't tell me shit in there. You dynamic and cute. Everybody works hard. What did you do? You're passionate.
Servant leader.
Yeah, well, I mean, we cute, man. You know, you saving
Okay.
babies. You
Okay.
saving babies and helping them. But what did you do?
So
I have to update my resume now because dynamic and ethical servant leader. I love it.
What? It's fine, but what did he do? From a GRC.
So-
Okay, I'm cool with the ethical, but once again, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to? But two is I'm the old man. Get off my lawn. For me, you trying to blow smoke up my rear when I see stuff like that. I'm like, dude. So I don't know. Once again, I'm grumpy.
So this is a tough one. I am from the food industry originally, so many decades ago. Thankfully competition wasn't that hard to get into IT back then. If you're looking for cyber, I know there's a list of certs down at the bottom. If you scroll down, Chris, there was multiple certs, I think, down there.
Oh,
And you have skills. It still might be very difficult for you to get into cyber without any actual IT job experience. I'm not knocking the experience. Food service teaches you so many amazing things, and you see so many horrors at the same time that you
Right.
sometimes still have nightmares from them. But it's possible that as much as you might not want it, like a help desk role, desktop support might be amazing to start in because, and I can't remember which one it was. I don't think it was a Hacking Humans. I can't remember. I listened to too many podcasts, and one of them, they were talking to like CISOs and stuff, and even they were saying like, look, there really aren't any entry-level jobs in cyber. They really do want someone who has done like a help desk or something because it lets them know you do have the basics and you learn
Yeah.
so much in that first year and
Right.
then pivot. And it's also easier to pivot within that same company sometimes.
I find that to be really bad information to throw out there, though, because the market's so diverse. So
It is
really
but
hard to tell somebody like, oh, it's not possible, or it's just too difficult that you should just go do this other thing.
I'm not saying it's
So-
impossible. I'm saying it is difficult. And a lot of companies in this day and age, they don't want to put the time in to train a cyber person. I got lucky that I got hired as an auditor with no experience as auditing, but I had all this IT experience behind it, and that's why they brought me in because of all of the IT experience I had. I'm not saying he won't get a job, but he needs to put projects or whatever then at the top above all that experience that is in food service and everything.
Yeah,
He has
just
amazing,
the
you gain
statement that you
amazing
were
soft
making-
skills, but
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the statement though itself because I know quite a few different people who were able to go into cybersecurity after upskilling for a year or two. And even people who, have 5-10 years of experience struggle to get a job for 4 to 12 months.
hello,
or
right
even
here.
longer.
Right here was one of them. Yes.
Yeah. And so,
But
I definitely agree on the fact that it's not entry level. You got to do that upskilling.
yeah.
But I just wanted to clarify that part. Like, I don't want anybody to lose their hopes and dreams and so
Well,
forth.
no. But
Yeah.
I also don't want anybody to be like, I'm only going for cyber. I'm only going for like, if you don't have any IT experience, don't only go for cyber. Like you can go for help desk. Should go for other
Yeah.
stuff too, because you seriously learn some crazy stuff on help desk. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
You will also learn how to deal with people that you wish you never had to deal with. Now, Zemer probably already has that experience because he's from food service. Sometimes you meet people that are even worse there where I've had, where I used to have people like, if you want, we can pull that chicken off before it's cooked, but I don't think you're going to want to eat it. It's only going to be
All
2
right.
more minutes. Like,
So
let's
try to push through this too, because we're an hour and a half in now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then also, I think overall it's a pretty clean one.
I think we could agree excellent that format.
Rewording the summary probably would be, and especially with the skills and so forth, like implementing that into the summary, I would feel is very important.
Yes.
So they can understand what you have experience with.
He definitely, sorry, I'm assuming a he. Zemer, sorry about that, needs to put projects in there. If they haven't done any projects, they need to start doing projects as well. Because I can say Splunk, I can say all this stuff, but I need to also show what kind of projects I've actually been doing with it. Because people are going to start asking you, and they might not even care, because they might just go, oh, well, this person just listed it to get past the system.
And then also these different experience sections as well. Like, I don't feel like it really gives that much detail into the job positions themselves. They seem pretty generic. So let a diverse team, fostering collaboration. What's the size of the team? I'm sure that they do have a time period that they had there. Seamless operations, general manager there. I'm assuming there's a lot more information considering how much is blacked out, but I feel like they could really give a lot more detail, and then also try to associate this to the technology side to some ability. Like, did you work with particular software or inventory, managed inventory, just changing that to inventory, asset management or something along those lines could be equivalent without actually lying, just to make it more similar.
So another really good suggestion, you have all this food service experience. It might not be bad to also go for some of the companies that's what they do. That's their industry. Cisco, SYSCO, not the other Cisco. Stuff like that. Stuff like that. Personally, I tried it way back in the day. It didn't work for me, but my resume also might have been crap. I've never been good at making a resume. I'll totally admit that. I have no troubles with admitting that. Because then also that'll help play into, well, I know your industry, and I know some IT stuff too. It's a kind of a way to spin and help with some of the experience you already have too.
Yeah. What are some of your takes on this, PBO?
No, I think you hit them. I think flaking it. So I would do projects, get your website so you can kind of show them what you're working on. People know I'm an AWS guy, so spin up your tenant, show some reports. I've done some videos on a GRC, Security Hub, AWS config, so you can show projects, print out reports, show as you go through an assessment. Did he take this GRC masterclass in there anywhere?
Well, I don't believe so.
Maybe take the GRC masterclass and just start building your portfolio. So when you are interviewing, those buzzwords. Is he trying to get in GRC, IT, security, little both? Is he focusing on
He did state in chat on the fact that he's pretty much open for anything. So
I saw that. Yeah. So
whether that's sweeping the floors at the local data center or
I've been there. My first job was putting tapes in a Cobalt room when the room was 40 degrees. So I had some shitty starting jobs. But I would work on the portfolio. I think Flecker had said that. And so you can, once again, build your portfolio so you can have things to show people when they're asked. And that will be your experience, since you're kind of lacking on that experience. Get that portfolio experience.
And then also redo your professional summary. Like if you're applying to a GRC role, you want to tailor to GRC. If you're going for an auditor role, tailor to audit. SOC analyst, whatever you want to tailor it as best as you can.
And those projects and portfolios will help you. Will help you tailor it.
Well, and the projects and portfolios, I think, are what will get you phone calls.
Facts.
So
that's part of it.
Oh.
I want to say one thing on the certifications is there's 4 different CompTIA certifications. You can put those all on one line and just say CompTIA once. Was I sleeping?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. I was focused on that I wasn't listening, I guess.
It's weird. I kind of like that, but I see what B-Dub's saying.
Yeah.
It's
see what
But
you
it's
it
it's not
takes up less white space.
B-dubs. I think there's a request to rip the resume apart. They don't feel like it was roasted enough.
No, I was feeling
But
Uh,
to be honest, this is a very well formatted resume.
yeah.
I don't feel that it has project stuff that'll help get the foot in the
Take
door.
Facts.
So you don't have industry
But
experience, get rid
yeah.
of your skills section. At the very top, put projects
Yep.
and use all of those keywords in your skills right now in your projects. Where
lo-
did you learn this? Where did you
Yep.
use this?
Yeah.
That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said with mine, I did not start getting calls and everything until I took my projects and moved them to the top above my experience because it wasn't cyber.
Facts. And once again, there's a ton of, as Chris say, we got a ton of resources in Study GRC to help you start building your portfolio. I said we like I did them, but
B-dubs is still in the red.
Yeah, I was
facts.
daydreaming about those columns freaking me out. So
I love
my
columns
bad.
too. I'm old. That's the 1990s thing is columns, but
Yeah, and so we'll push forward here in just a second. But one of the last things I wanted to mention on this particular one is the skills section. This just looks really dirty to me. I find that
Wow.
kind of difficult to read.
not cluttered, not unorganized. He went straight dirty. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that's
pretty harsh.
just kind of one of my notes there.
Wow.
But
There's your roast.
Yeah,
Disheveled?
definitely some that, and then also like page 1 of 1 is not required.
Yeah,
I would just
yeah,
make
you
sure
don't
that I take
know.
that out.
Yeah, you don't need that. And then the other thing is you'll add any projects and stuff, but since all your experience is not cyber and IT, you might not need all that long bit of experience that falls under food service.
Facts. And two is I think just take the master class if you haven't and just start on your portfolio and your projects. Facts.
Also, a really good time to mention too about the badge again. So it's going to be coming down to last call here shortly. We're going to try to cut it out in about 24 minutes. So around the 2-hour mark, we try to go through and respect everybody's time as well, because otherwise PBO will stick around for 4 hours.
Facts. PBO going to bed though. He's tired. I'm talking to the third person like I'm an athlete. I need to go figure out who got drafted, but go ahead.
Yeah, and I think I might have missed something here on the Sci-High Easter egg or something along those lines.
No, we was talking about that on the last resume.
Oh, okay.
The cyber hygiene. I hate that hygiene.
I say
hygiene.
get rid of cyber hygiene and just focus on the cyber resilience. Like that kind of encompasses it all, it seems. And then B-dubs is definitely saying columns are the way to go. So
No. Why do we keep bringing this up tonight? Y'all are gonna give me crazy dreams tonight about columns.
Yes. Stop picking on B-dubs. No columns.
Rania did submit her resume a few episodes ago for the Job Readiness and Resume Review, and her resume had a really good 3-column layout for the areas that she was familiar with. And I thought it looked extremely professional and really good format. We have a YouTube short for it on our channel. I could probably drop a screenshot or otherwise in the Discord later. But I really like the 3-column layout. I think it's really easy to read and so forth. But yeah, I think the main pushback B-dubs is probably because the ATS is your pushback. You want to keep it as minimal as possible.
It's not even
plain
ATS.
text?
It's just B-dubs being B-dubs.
Yeah, that's in her soul, man. When she said columns, I feel it coming out of her soul.
Yeah, it's not even ATS. It's just I don't like it on the resume.
As the kids say, she's standing on business with her columns.
But
She's
all
standing on
of
business.
us, we all have our own opinions and different advice and whatever that we give, and you have to take that and make it your own.
Facts.
Don't make your resume someone else's. It's your resume. So use what works for you. And if you like columns, then give me a heart attack and go do it. It's fine.
And then also, like PBO had mentioned too, is we have the Discord server outside of the live streams and so forth. So if you guys have questions, and there's also nothing wrong with you guys submitting your redacted resumes in the Discord as well if you want to get opinions otherwise. Just make sure that it's redacted. Also, that giveaway every single month. The first week of every month, we publish out the giveaway, which is sponsored by Cyber. And so if you guys have anything in particular you guys want to see with the giveaway, definitely let us know. Drop that in Discord as well, because we really just come up with it every single month. Oh, this book looks cool, or this looks neat, and so forth. How about a one-page resume, though? I think a minimum of 3 or more pages.
I'm down to 2. I'm down to 2.
If you're PBO, you can have 2. Everyone else, you get 1.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It should be 1 page unless you have over a certain amount of years of experience. Then 2 is okay.
Here's the thing is someone's going to pick that resume up and look at that 1 page. If you have 2 pages, they're not going to see anything on that second page unless you grab their attention and they put it in the stack for later or something. But they're going to spend 10 seconds. So you want everything on 1 page visible. If you have lots of experience, then you can definitely get away with 2 pages, even 3 with the right experience. But you want to make sure that all of that important information is on that front page where they're going to see it in 10 seconds or less. So
and then also pushing forward a little bit more. So typically we do spend the large majority of this session going through the resumes and so forth, but we also title it Job Readiness as well. So if you guys have questions or otherwise, we could just help each other out, provide advice, recommendations, and so forth. But a really good recommendation that we had, some of the feedback that we received was around the STAR method. We always talk about the STAR method and, oh, this doesn't have the STAR method, or, oh, look at this resource for the STAR method. We're always talking about the STAR method. What the hell does it mean? I don't think we've ever really covered it in depth. And so I wanted to just go through here and we can all kind of give examples or talk about it a little bit as well. Because it's actually designed around interviewing primarily. You could use this in conversations for the situation, the task, the action, and the result. But I wanted to just showcase this here because even though I'm not a fanboy for OpenAI, let me go ahead and grab this link for everybody. So if you guys do have an OpenAI account, go ahead and access the GPT here. I just copied this off of ZMAF's resume. And so an example of how you could leverage this, and so we can get some examples here, is put this into the STAR method format. So this is just one of the bulletin points on ZMAF's resume for an example. And so this gives us some really good examples that we could run off of and start getting used to it a little bit. So the situation, while working in a fast-paced restaurant kitchen during peak hours, the team was often under pressure to maintain speed and quality. My responsibility was to manage multiple cooking and prepping tasks simultaneously to ensure that all meals were prepared accurately and delivered to customers on time. The action, I organized my station efficiently, prioritized tasks and cooking times. The result is continuously met light service result times. Now, we can take this differently and we can also ask it and prep it. Great. Now, put that into a concise bulletin for my resume and provide me 5 examples to use. Tailor for a cybersecurity role. And then this can give us additional examples. Now, one of the different key things here is this is for brainstorming. And, now we could take some of this different stuff and, pick one out, customize it, make sure that it's valid, and hopefully it does put this disclaimer on for, checking the results and make sure that it's, real experiences. But I hope this is just a little bit beneficial and useful for people to utilize. And we could certainly advance this a little bit more or implement this with the AI that's already in our Discord server as well. This was just a proof of concept. So.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, definitely play with it and so forth. But yeah. That's pretty much what I wanted to throw in at the end.
I think also with the gifted subs, we should do a shout out to Kimberly Can Fix It, who seems to have gotten one. So I didn't know she was hanging out in chat.
Bam! The gifted subs, threw her out there in chat. Welcome to the party, pal. Let's see. Yeah, and then also Shungo got it. Thank you, B-dubs, for being merciful. Yeah, welcome to the party, pal. GRC Mafia brews and hacks. Yeah, for anybody else grabbing those gifted subs, bam. Or gifted memberships, I guess. The gifted memberships, we just implemented that because it does help support Study GRC's mission, but all you get for it is just the access to the emojis for chat. So, and it's a quick and easy thing if you guys opt into that or not, but no additional, no paywalls or anything.
I subscribe for the emojis.
You fall for that every time.
Every time.
Facts.
I will always
Yeah, and so
subscribe.
this could-
I have Nitro for the emojis.
Yeah, and so then we could even prompt this even further and say, great, now let's add metrics. So then then we'll actually review some of these examples that it gives us as well. And, you know, manage 10 plus concurrent kitchen tasks in a high pressured environment. Maybe that's not the best one. Coordinated with a team of 6 staff to deliver 200 plus meals per shift with consistent quality, showcasing cross-functional collaboration, key to cybersecurity investigations. That could probably be tailored a little bit more, but it's kind of on a better track, I would say. Is there an example you guys want to throw through here?
No, I think you killed it with the OpenAI. Go ahead, B-Dubs.
Oh, I didn't have anything. He was just calling me out. Go ahead, PBO.
No, I think that was perfect. Long story short, when I was doing my AWS interview that I didn't get, they're real big on the STAR method. So that's kind of where I really kind of figured that out, because a couple years ago, I've never heard of that. So all the big tech firms are definitely into the STAR method.
And one of the other big advantages here too that I really like is that we can give it an actual scenario. You know, like provide me a STAR method response for my Apple customer service role. And so you can give it more detail on a particular situation or a particular question that could come up during an interview, and then it can kind of guide you a little bit on giving you some different ideas of how you can phrase things. Or if you expect a particular question, like I think earlier we were talking about, you know, self-employment. So, I do, you know, cybersecurity related consulting, you know, through my own business. How could I word this in the STAR method? And then you can customize it to projects or otherwise. So this is also interview prep as well. So resolved over 90% of customer issues independently with first contact. When I worked for Apple customer service, I actually had a above 96% resolve rate. So
we need to see documentation on that.
I have documentation. I got a letter of recommendation.
I'm glad. But two, like he said, is you need to, from what's your results? I think that's really the missing pieces in most people, especially from a GRC perspective. You help the findings and vulnerabilities get down. You did some automation to speed up the continuous monitoring. So.
And given the fact that my professional experience is primarily limited to this help desk role, this is actually really great for my own take on it, because if I go into an interview and they ask me, oh, you know, tell us about this help desk role that you had, you know, customer service, then I could run off of something similar to this and be like, oh, well, I regularly supported customers facing technical issues with their devices. Oftentimes, you know, they might have been under pressure or frustrated at the circumstance. I was responsible for diagnosing and resolving the issues as quickly and accurately as possible while following our standards and policies. I actively listened to the customer's concerns, asked clarifying questions, and guided them step by step through troubleshooting. When appropriate, I leveraged internal support tools and collaborated with Tier 2 if I needed to. And I resolved over 96% of the issues on first contact while maintaining above 95% customer satisfaction as well. So this is kind of how I wanted to just showcase this and so forth, that we could leverage this kind of stuff as well.
AI is powerful. I'm using it more and more every day. And We actually had it writing websites for us on one time, so it's super powerful. So definitely take advantage of it, especially at that price. There's so many of them out there though. So
Oh yeah, and then also Flykinator had to go as well. So thanks for hopping up here, Flykinator, if you're still watching or otherwise.
yeah.
And then also thanks for popping in as well, Shango.
Peace. I just got extremely tired all of a sudden.
But yeah, that pretty much covers that aspect. Did you have anything to add or otherwise, B-dubs?
At the moment, no. I was distracted for a second. I'm so sorry.
She saw a couple columns and had to get out it. Had to get at it. Now
I was just gonna say that.
No, I had to go cook dinner real quick.
Shut up to B-dubs. No, B-dubs multitasking.
I was ordering dinner.
Okay.
I gotta feed the family.
Wow, not even bringing anything to the party.
I mean, I would share if I could.
What about you, PBO?
No, I thought that was great. Definitely got to start using the AI and different stuff in there. I think from totalities, which I need to double check your professional experience and kind of mapping that to your job description, I think is super important. Don't put any columns on there. B-dub's gonna get you. No, I'm just playing. So
I'll come for you.
Just no, but two is, and I think B-dubs actually said you got to make sure you own your own resume and you're comfortable with your resume. You got to be able to talk to your resume. I think the next step is actually us going through some mock interviews and quizzing people and make sure they're comfortable from a GRC perspective of kind of what they're talking about. Even if that's PCI, of course, I'm a NIST guy, CSF, kind of specializing in those particular compliances.
So PBO, are you volunteering to interview me next job readiness video next month?
I can do that. I had a great conversation with the person you sent me to. That was in Discord.
Oh, yeah. I sent so many people over to PBO.
I know. But we had a great conversation. It was super, super good. But so no,
good.
Anything for you. If we can.
Oh yeah. Of course.
My problem though is I always interview at a senior level, and I think sometimes it's not fair to some junior people.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the level I'm usually at. So.
Well, and especially with the community that we have out there, reach out to me or otherwise if you would like to be the interviewee or the interviewer, and hopefully we could get something lined up for the next job readiness video. Because I think that would be a great value. The issue that we've had is we don't get enough people who are willing to be the interviewee. Everyone wants to ask the questions. Nobody wants to answer the questions on a live stream.
You want me to be the
I'm more than willing to throw myself under the bus because, it is like...
You want me to be the E and you and B-dubs interview me? I'm cool with that. I tell people
I'm gonna have some big questions about your resume, PBO, especially that in progress certification you've had for 3 years.
Oh yeah, they don't know us for 3 years though, B-dubs.
You just made it public.
Why we for 3 years? I'll be like, I've been busy. I've been helping GRC. I've been volunteering for the community. I studied, and my main man Chris let me know that the test changed. I really wasn't aware of that, so that set me back a slight bit. So PBO can go with the best. So set me back a slight bit. So we pushed it off for another 6 months to make sure I was duly prepared for the new test. I think only 4% of it changed during real life, but gotta better say it. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in either side, definitely reach out to me. I'd love to get something set up ahead of time. So the last Thursday of every month, we have the Job Readiness Group Resume Review. We did 5 resumes today, and then also showcased this other thing. Lots of awesome information. Right. We also throw these into a playlist on the YouTube channel as well. So you can look at all the previous ones in the Job Readiness Group Resume Review playlist afterwards as well. And then there was also a really good mention here. You must answer behavioral interview questions with the STAR method if you want to be successful. I fully support this. I think that's one of the big advantages with practicing is to be able to actually explain, and I'll swap back over to this real quick, is the situation. So what occurred, the task that was involved, the action that you did, and then the results that came from it. It's a very logical pattern to follow and for the flow of information. And like one of the big reasons why I went through and made this GPT is so not only can we share it, but then also because I'm absolutely horrible at this. I'm horrible at selling myself and also trying to brainstorm like, oh, you know, this or that, like playing around with, oh, I don't even have it open, but
Chris,
I was trying to share that.
You gotta edify yourself. You gotta give yourself a shout out to make you feel better. Shout out to me. So you gotta edify yourself to help you out.
No. Yeah, shout out to PBO over here.
Shout out to Chris.
Yeah, and then as we bring this to an end here in just a couple minutes, any final remarks or otherwise, B-dubs?
One thing I was gonna say, and we've said it already, but I wanted to reiterate, you know, we all have our own different opinions. Take what works for you from us. Get advice from multiple people. This is why I also don't agree with having just one mentor. Get advice from multiple people and then utilize that in a way that works for you. It fits your personality. You know, I know there's been several of you now at this point that have put your resume through here, and then by the second time you're like, oh, it still got roasted. We're still probably going to roast it every single time because we're not always going to agree. There's resumes are there's so many opinions on what's right. And so, and we don't always agree on it either. So, you know, take what you want out of it, and you don't have to implement every single thing that we say because it may be something that doesn't work for you or you don't agree with. So I definitely wanted to reiterate and kind of add that. No. So if you send your resume to us 5 times, it's still probably going to get roasted. So don't let that discourage you.
Our goal is to roast it, to point out every flaw we can for improvement.
Yes, facts.
And it looks like David B also got us up. I'm glad you were one of the ones in there. So I did go through and do the 20 memberships today. Definitely just trying to throw that out there for everybody as well, so you guys have access to those emojis. That's the only thing you get, and that's the only way you can do it on YouTube. If I could, I would just provide it to everybody, but that's not an option on YouTube. But I do like the emojis, so that is kind of a nice little benefit. But yeah, great mention there, B-dubs.
Yeah,
so
100%.
What about you, PBO? What's your plans on Tuesday, and what's your key takeaways and final remarks?
Like B-dub said, I think it was a great stream. We're gonna disagree on a few things. I'm old enough too. I kind of leave that to you and B-dubs. Resume is definitely not my strength. I just kind of tell you some feelings I get. 2 is I think projects in your professional summary. I think for me, that kind of what's help resume stand out, because most people are going to look at it for 30 seconds. And that behavior, I'm sure we get in that next time. You usually get the questions about what happened in this type of situation. What happened if something went bad with your artifacts didn't get accepted? Can you tell me what would be the process if you had a negative review on our assessment, right? So behavior. So you just got to have pocket questions for that and just kind of go with it. So definitely on those behavioral type things. Once again, great stream, really like it. And let me know. I'll be the interviewee, and I guess you can get my man David B up, you and B-dubs. So
we'll just do a panel interview.
I've had those before, so that was it. Let me know, because you said a lot of people don't want to do the E. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, and I have no problem being one of the interviewees as well. But yeah, awesome information and so forth. Definitely catch us in Discord outside of the live streams. Tomorrow we do have the AMA with B-dubs, and then
Whoa. B-dubs will be there, but this is not the AMA with B-dubs.
We ain't doing it again?
Yeah, so
muted my mic. Wow.
Censorship.
I feel very censored.
B-dubs over here trying to back out of her Friday AMA.
I never made that commitment. I took care of one so you could have a day off.
You only get one day off. Peer pressure, so
you only get one day off.
'cause,
B-dubs,
you know,
she's
root
taking
for
over the
it.
Fridays. It's gonna be Fridays with B-dubs now.
No, B-dubs is really bad at peer pressure.
Yeah, so in other words, just bombard B-dubs to do the Friday AMA, and then we have the Friday AMA every week.
B-dubs,
I
no,
mean,
I got her back.
It's a definite no for tomorrow, but I can be peer pressured.
Oh, Kim got it.
Oh,
Kim got it. You gonna get beat up. You come in here with 8 columns. We're gonna have a problem, brother.
I already told him he's on my list.
So, yeah,
Also, don't forget, so also Saturday, we have the study group for the CISSP. So that's at 3 p.m. Those links are going in chat. Catch us outside of the streams on Discord. We also have our website for the calendar and so forth. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, we have our Friday AMA. And then PBO, I don't see a scheduled video for your channel for Tuesday night.
you know, I usually do that about on a Sunday, man. You way ahead of the game. Yeah, somebody asked me about TSAC, which is compliance for automobiles. I've never heard of it, so I might do that. Somebody kind of asked me some questions. I was like, I don't know, I need to do a little research. Shout out to AWS. They have some compliance services and compliance regions for car manufacturers compliance. I've never heard of it. Oh
yeah. First question for PBO: What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Is your interview question?
I'm sorry. PBO stays in his lane, so I would have to defer that to the appropriate department.
Yeah, but not if you're the interviewee.
And
I think he's talking about when you're being interviewed.
I told people that before. People ask me questions. I'm like, I stay in my lane. I send legal questions to legal. I did not sleep at a Holiday Inn. I stay in my lane. Guy was asking me legal questions. I was like, this is my take, but that's going to legal. PBO stays in his lane because we don't want to get sued as a company. I'm not practiced to do legal. So now
did
PBO,
you get that job?
They offered it. It didn't pay enough, if I remember correctly.
Interesting. Yeah, and like Tuesdays works out great because 6 p.m. on Tuesdays Central Time is the CISSP study group, and then that goes into VC for Discord voice chat, and then PBO goes live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. So it really lines up really nicely on Tuesday.
We aren't always, talking just straight about the CISSP. I mean, definitely answer questions if you have them, but we definitely go on some tangents that there was one that was pretty fun. So, I mean,
yeah, we do.
Bam. Yeah, catch you guys later. Thank you guys. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. GRC Mafia.